Thanks and welcome to join me on the 6:15. I'm Kejan Henry Atembi. For presentation, let's flag off with our headlines. At least 7 persons have been reported dead in some parts of the Northwest region within the last 1 week. The victims, mostly civilians, fell to sounds of gunshots from men in uniforms or knifed stabbing from armed bandits, as we are going to get in this news edition. And horror in Yaoundé as a school wall collapses, killing its class 3 people, while 2 others were seriously injured. And trainees of election scrutineers are presently sharpening skills on electoral matters as regional elections draw closer. The major stakeholders from the 10 regions are reviewing the challenges posed so far and to improve on the process. Top stories. And welcome. Check us on our respective platforms on Canal International. We begin from the Northwest region, precisely the moment where at least 7 persons have been reported dead in several parts of the Northwest region within the last 1 week. The victims, mostly civilians, fell on the sounds of gunshots from men in uniform or knife stabbing from armed bandits. As we gather from the tour of the region with Sheriff Asale and our Northwest Chief Correspondent Annie Collins.
There has been a series of deaths in some localities in the Northwest region within 1 week. The reasons for the killings are as obscured and varied as the number of victims. In Du, in the Ndonga Mantung division, a pastor was shot dead and another is still battling with his life in 2 separate incidents within 24 hours. In a press release, the mayor of Ndu has condemned the growing insecurity, calling on the population to join hands with security forces to stamp out the phenomenon. In Bamenda, it is a student police officer who is reportedly to have shot to death a bike rider at Old Town Quarter after a wrong manipulation of his gun, whose flying bullet also injured a roadside vendor. Over in neighboring Bafut, defense forces of the 501 Air Force Base have ambushed and killed 4 suspected separatist fighters in the locality of Akosia, whom they accuse of wreaking havoc for some time now. The insecurity is also rampant along the Mbengui Acha Ajikwa and Acha Ngi roads, where young Fulani men have been pointing accusing fingers for the numerous cases of armed robbery. The recent is the stabbing of a man from whom the chicken change amount of 2,000 francs was collected, while the man later died in the hospital. Disturbed by the repeated incidents, the population have vowed to help put the situation under check to enable them carry out their daily activities hitch-free. Meanwhile, some soldiers are feared dead after their vehicles said to be on high speed, some assaulted several times around Mile 8 Junction, Akum, along the Bamenda-Mbuda Highway on Tuesday evening.
And in Yaoundé, it's horror as a school wall collapsed, killing a class 3 people, while 2 others were seriously injured. The 8-year class 3 pupil of government bilingual school complex was playing with his friends when the school wall collapsed. And the child died later in the hospital, while the 2 others who were injured are presently receiving treatment. Beatrice Ngamo reports on that unfortunate incident.
Jordan's mother and aunt have been crying and wailing following his premature departure yesterday, November 11, 2025. The 8-year-old class 6 pupil made it to school as all others yesterday, Tuesday. It was during break that he and friends were having a wonderful time playing around that the unexpected happened. A section of the perimeter wall of the government bilingual primary school complex, Exos neighborhood under Yaoundé 5 subdivision, collapsed on 3 of them. Jordan bore the bulk of the cement.
It was an old wall. If you go there, you will see it's an old wall.
rushed first to a nearby dispensary, then the Yaoundé Central Hospital.
We arrived Central Hospital, the child was still alive.
School authorities alerted family who arrived, and it was before their eyes that it all ended.
We called the family came and met us. We were together. When it happened, the family was there. We took the child to the mortuary.
In the face of such pain and emotion, the father of Jordan says they leave all in the hands of the Almighty. We surrender all to God. He is the one who gives and has taken. We depend solely on Him if it is His will. Like parents, school officials find it hard to digest the sad event.
It's really unfortunate that that child has gone. But I was really thinking, because I just imagined that a child will come to school, yes, and then the child will not go back home. It's really bad. This
Wednesday, though another school day, the forceful exit of Jordan forever lingers in the air.
Beatrice Ngamo, very unfortunate there, and from one unfortunate incident to another, this time in the Adamawa region, where a tragic fuel tanker explosion actually rocked the Har village in Bay subdivision of the Adamawa region. And of course, the driver and one other person died on the spot, while several others were seriously wounded. Indeed, Maureen picks up that story.
Thick smoke, flames and cries for help filled Har village in Bay subdivision, Adamawa region on Tuesday, November 11, after a fuel tanker carrying adulterated fuel exploded between 12 p.m. and 1 p.m. The blast killed the driver on the spot. His charred body was retrieved by firefighters and left 5 others seriously injured, including 2 men and a woman. We observed that a fuel tanker transporting fuel from Garwa to Nganthere and beyond lost control while negotiating a bench in this village. It veered off the road and plunged into a valley. 3 people were on board. Unfortunately, the driver died on the spot, but the 2 others on board survived, thanks to the swift intervention of the local population. Investigations have been opened to determine the exact cause of the incident.
Ils ont bravé, il faut le dire, les flammes.
2 crew members were rushed to the hospital in Nganthere, while the rest were treated at the local health center. The explosion destroyed over 20 houses, burnt food stocks, including maize and beans, and left residents in deep shock.
Souvent, les chauffeurs sont imprudents.
We have noticed that some drivers continue to drive recklessly. Despite the poor condition of certain roads, we appeal to their consciences and urge them to exercise greater caution to avoid further tragedies.
Conscience à la responsabilité.
The governor of the Adamawa region visited the site, describing the scene as alarming. Yes, the roads are bad. The accident only adds to the already terrible condition of our roads. It destroyed houses and children's documents have been lost. Families are in pain. We don't know what to do. He urged truck drivers to show professionalism. The village chief, Nana Emmanuel, has called for urgent aid as local authorities hold emergency meetings to support victims.
On the Yaoundé 6 municipality, the inhabitants have been enduring unpleasant stench and health risk due to unclean garbage around the Tekase Junction, the famous Tekase Junction, and neighboring localities. The locals already say that the waste piles is making life absolutely difficult and posing serious health risk. Ati Bonaventure went through that locality and report.
Flies and lava feasting on rotten chunks of rubbish, which has blocked the drainage system and part of the runway at Carrefour Tekase and its environs. The population here have been enduring the mess for over a month.
Quand tu arrives déjà au Carrefour Prodige là, la poubelle commence à sentir. On sent déjà au Carrefour, tous les mamans de là-bas en bas, tous les responsables de là-bas en bas se plaignent. La poubelle a gâté la route.
Il y a même ma fille qui est tombée malade là hier à cause de ces odeurs-là. Elle a l'idée actuellement.
Owners of nearby workshops and businesses complain of loss of customers who can't tolerate the state of insanity.
ça fait presque 2 mois qu'on ne vend même plus la glace. Parce que j'ai même tout fermé parce que les mouches, les gens n'arrivaient pas. Moi-même, j'avais honte de charger encore parce que rester avec... Tu appuies, les mouches viennent entasser sur ça. Tu vois que tu es en train de donner la saleté aux gens, donner la maladie aux gens. Toi-même, tu ne peux même pas goûter. Donc c'est pour ça que j'ai fermé. Je suis là, je n'ai rien maintenant à manger. Parce que mes 500 francs sortaient sur ça.
The pungent smell from the garbage has left the local inhabitants helpless as they cry for salvation and hope for immediate intervention.
Ça dérange. Comment? Normalement, on doit verser aujourd'hui, demain on enlève. On verse aujourd'hui, demain on enlève. C'est pas quelque chose qui va dormir là. Ça, même si ça ne nous dérange même pas, ça dérange tout le monde, même ceux qui passent. Ça met les gens mal à l'aise.
Ça a tellement mis long, ça nous dérange. Pourquoi ça peut aussi mal la circulation? Même pour passer, il y a toujours les embouteillages, ont été cassés, les descentes étaient cassées ici. Donc vraiment, il faut vraiment que le gouvernement essaie de faire quelque chose pour nous. Vraiment, nous souffrons vraiment avec cette poubelle-là. Nous la suivons.
Some denizens have opted to reduce the dirt heaps by collecting plastic waste and metal scraps for recycling, but the plight of the population is immediate return to sanity.
And the situation is not different at the new build neighborhoods in Douala as waste has become part of the daily activities of the people. Now, Sherifa Saleh scooped through the new build neighborhoods for the 6:15.
Circulating through the Busy Garden New Bell Market in Douala 2 subdivision has become a daunting task for both road users and traders. Congestion, muddy conditions, and poor waste management have combined to make daily activity in the area a struggle. For the past 2 days, the bike was in the garage.
Chez moi étant bien propre, je commence à nettoyer la poubelle avec les mains.
A huge pile of garbage, which has remained uncleared for weeks, now sits beside the market, serving as an unpleasant backdrop and for some traders, an improvised support for displaying goods. Vendors say the stench and unsanitary conditions are driving customers away. Before, circulating here was without problems. In the month of May, we came here to find that people are dumping trash here, which has not only caused harm to our goods but also deteriorated roads and hindered circulation. Most of the goods sold at the market are perishable food items, and traders fear the situation could lead to health risk if not addressed soon.
Le client passe, il se moque moi qui se manque de nous. Quand vous vendez dans la poubelle, vous vendez dans la poubelle.
They are urging authorities to take immediate measures to clean up the site and improve waste disposal in the area.
Je prie le gouvernement camerounais de nous venir en aide.
Nous sommes en aventure, on n'a pas le choix.
Business owners hope that swift action will not only restore hygiene and order at the market but also revive trade and confidence among customers who have been avoiding the area.
Thanks, Sherifa. And trainers of election scrutineers are presently sharpening skills on the electoral matters as regional elections are just near the corner. The major stakeholders from the 10 regions of the country are reviewing the challenges and to improve on the shortcomings in the electoral process. Hyacinthia report from Yaoundé.
As days narrow down to November 30th, date for the regional elections in Cameroon, Elecam is fine-tuning the technical know-how of scrutineers ahead of the crucial moment. Here they are, trainers of trainers, schooled on key elements to empower them, train others in the different regions.
Elecam is going as far as taking these steps to be able to train those trainers who will be on the field to be able to make sure that delegates follow the rules and regulations and then implement the standards of elections, organization of elections, so that they will be able to have free, fair, transparent and credible elections that will also reflect the will of the people, the citizens.
The participants also drilled on the specificities of the process, unlike the just ended presidential election.
Some of the peculiarities will involve those who are going to, it's not all the population that is going to vote. We're going to have representatives of divisions, that is, who will represent the divisions to be able to vote for those that they want to elect in power, meaning that divisions of various regions will have their representatives, and they also want to manifest the implementation of the fact that traditional rulers will also have governance, a hand in governing through this election.
The exercise opened in Yaoundé this Wednesday, November 12, by the Deputy Director General of Elections, Abdou Karimou, who reassures electorates that the electoral materials being dispatched to the divisions across the country.
And more than 1,000 Cameroonians are reported to lose their lives due to the consumption of fake medications. This alarming observation was made by the Minister of Public Health, Manaouda Malachi, this Wednesday in Yaoundé at a press conference. Beatrice Ngamo sat through that conference and report.
The alarming rates of deaths due to consumption of fake medication by the WHO in Africa and here in Cameroon of over 267,000 deaths and 1,000 deaths per year, respectively, call for concern.
Counterfeit medicines are not just an economic fraud that undermines the economic fabric. They are a serious threat of human life. It undermines trust between patients and the healthcare system and hinders of countries' efforts towards universal health coverage.
On the occasion of the Africa Day for the Fight Against Counterfeit Medicine, this Wednesday, November 12, Public Health Minister sounded the alarm. Behind attractive prices may be hiding a deadly danger. Thus, this call.
I'm making a passionate appeal to our pharmacists and healthcare professionals to remain vigilant and watchful, to media professionals and community leaders to keep informing and educating our communities, and to every citizen categorically refuse to buy medicines outside of approved channels.
The engagement of all imperative as active participants in health vigilance. The health boss insists it is time to talk about and denounce this silent danger so that together we can put an end to this scourge that silently destroys life. Manaouda Malachi was speaking to the press and the public at large, especially as Cameroon seems to be a new hub for such medications, fertile ground for illicit sales of drugs banned in other countries. The recent cough syrups case, which leaves our children to the mercy of death.
Thanks, Beatrice Ngamo. And fintech experts in the country are grappling with cybersecurity challenges in the digital financial market. The experts are exploring the questions of compliance obligation to seek solutions on how to avert the situation, especially as cyber criminals are constantly changing tactics. Details in this report. Global banking has come under threat and vulnerabilities. World has pushed fintech experts to ponder on how to circumvent. These experts are grappling with the challenges faced by the fintech industry in the protection of their data, especially for emerging fintech markets.
Huge volumes in terms of money and data are involved in fintech business. We need to be sure that the transactions, even their platforms, are authenticated. A user gets authenticated before he can access the platform. If a user is not authenticated appropriately and gains access to the platform, he can access some other person's account and extract money from an account which does not belong to him.
As the meet in Douala from November 12 to 14, the cybersecurity experts will explore the questions of compliance, data protection, and anti-money updates. Adapting to global trends in the system remains a deep challenge.
There is usually a lack of trust when it comes to financial technology. If we notice in the beginning, there was a lot of doubt when the mobile money systems came into place, because in the beginning there were a lot of issues with security. And I feel like the further we go in technology, the more important it is to ensure that the customers who will be using these technologies are safe.
The threat electronic money transaction grows, financial technology institutions are tightening their grip from hackers in order to protect their customers. And that draws the curtain for this edition of the 6:15 with me, Kejang Henry Atembe, in which you got information that a 6-year-old child and 8-year-old child in Yaoundé was killed after a wall collapsed in government bilingual complex in Yaoundé. Thanks for being there with us. Lee Piju is coming right ahead with the brief, the actuality. From all of us, it's goodbye.